Hey folks, I just wanted to check in because I haven't been here. I've been kind of trying to focus on amplifying other people's voices, which is why I've spoken less. I think there's a tendency for us to try and mimic what's familiar. What I mean by this is IHOP was a celebrity platform space. And I feel like the pattern is when now that people don't know whether or not they can trust IHOP, they're looking to other people to try and tell them who they can trust now. Yo, it ain't me. It ain't any of us. It's yourself. That means doing some work and going through uncertainty and discomfort. You gotta do the work. The reason we got here is because we were looking to other people to do the thinking for us. And it's not just IHOP and post IHOP spaces. Like, it's a pattern that I've seen in the decade or so I've been in deconstruction communities. And you can see other deconstruction community people have spoken up about this. We do what's familiar, and we repeat the same harmful behaviors that we experienced in church spaces because all the post-church spaces are made up of people from church. Old habits die hard. And sometimes maybe people need to spend like 14 years making purple cloth. But instead, in the deconstruction spaces, it's very easy to fall into the same pattern of what we saw at church, which is like someone influential gets converted and then they're handed the microphone 30 seconds later and asked to sell Jesus. Instead of taking time to get their feet under them and get a real solid understanding, they're just immediately handed a platform, and because they already had clout, people listen. And I say this recognizing that people have listened to some of the stuff I've said. I don't want me to be doing the thinking for you. I hope I'm inspiring you to go and do your own work, learning and researching and not following any one voice. Listen to a spread, different opinions. Or don't. It's up to you. But like, if you find yourself consistently going back to any one person guiding you what to think or feel about all this IHOP news, can I encourage you to diversify? The only way we overcome the patterns that we had that made those spaces we left unhealthy is by actively keeping an eye out for them, because otherwise we'll passively fall back into what's familiar. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Sometimes it will feel unsafe because what is familiar was dysfunction. And so moving into healthy will be unfamiliar, and it will feel unsafe, and it will feel intimidating, and it will feel uncomfortable. And you might think that you're doing the wrong thing because you have emotions coming up that you're not used to even like facing. And a lot of us have been in spaces where we've been told that like following the Holy Spirit's leading is like, well, I have a peace in my heart about blah, 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 or I don't have a peace in my heart about blah, blah, blah. But like, where did that get us? At the end of the day, you got to follow your conscience. Like, I'm not saying don't do that, but it's something to be mindful of. Like, if you are used to dysfunction, a healthy dynamic will feel unsafe because it's not predictable, it's not familiar. So I just want to encourage those of you who have had your worlds turned upside down lately with all the IHOP mess, with all the Mike Bickle stuff, with the Kansas City Star article that came out today that showed provably that there was a lie told about Paul Kane's mom, saying this whole word about she died at 4:18 on April 18th and told Paul Kane 4:18, and that's Luke 4:18, and that's the word over the house of prayer. And then it turned out she died at 9:50 p.m. on the 19th. And Mike just told the lie over and over and over. As you're coming to terms with the fact that a lot of your world has been based on some lies and some cons, it's going to be real tempting to go and find the same thing in a different package. And I just want to encourage you, that which is comfortable and feels safe and feels familiar, that might not be the best road to take, because familiar is a dysfunctional space if you've been at IHOP or been looking to IHOP to guide you. You might want to lead out of your comfort zone. branch out a little. Anyways, this video is getting to be 5 minutes long, so I'm going to stop there. But I've got some more thoughts on this and on just post IHOP spaces, post church spaces, deconstruction spaces, untangling spaces, whatever jargon you want to use for it. Just got been in the trenches for a solid decade on that, and I've seen the patterns, and there's just been some stuff that I've been seeing popping up in the post IHOPKC space that's got me a little concerned too, especially for the folks who are very new to untangling or deconstructing or whatever you want to call it. So I might start sharing some stuff on that, but also don't make me an authority. You gotta become your own authority. Bye, I'll add more later.